Every Tuesday, we introduce you to people who have overcome hurdles in their life. Today, children's book author Sasha Saidman joins us from Washington, D.C. to shine light on a hurdle that she continues to overcome every day. Hello, Sasha.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, so I mentioned that you continue to overcome your hurdle. You're actually dyslexic. So when you were diagnosed, and tell me a little bit about that time and what was happening during that time as well.
Yeah, so I was in second grade and I just recall having a really hard time reading, and I would actually memorize pages and even books ahead of time to avoid embarrassment. And of course, my mom caught on and she was the one who really pushed to have me tested, which ended up coming out that I was dyslexic.
Shout out to mom's intuition, indeed. Okay, so what do you find people most misunderstand about dyslexia?
Yeah, I think dyslexia is sometimes synonymous with they can't learn. And I think that could not be further from the truth. I think we are incredible learners. We just learn differently.
So let's talk about your hurdles for a second. Tell me some of them that you faced as you learned to read as a child.
Yeah, so reading just came really hard to me. I was struggling with 2 and 3 letter words up until third and even fourth grade. I remember reading ahead of time, memorizing, and just the feeling of shame really sets with me.
Wow, wow. You just mentioned kids kind of tend to say, I'm never going to get this right, or I'm never going to learn this. Or for you, like you said, you were memorizing. So was it hard to stay positive and push past those feelings? Did your mom have to help you in those situations? And how are you staying positive now as an adult?
Oh, definitely. I think that can be said about anything with anyone trying something that's difficult for them. For dyslexics specifically, we're really right brain dominant. So we have really heavy on imagination and thinking out of the box, while our left brain is literacy and patterns like connecting letters and creating words and sentences that we really struggle with. And my mom was definitely a huge part, as well as tutors and the Lab School of Washington.
Which I think is so important to note is that parents and teachers can absolutely be an advocate. And like you said, your mom kind of noticed those things within you and was like, okay, let's get tested. And so I do think that is especially important. So you have grown so much since then. You've penned 4 children's books. So tell me how you got into writing, especially after knowing that you have a diagnosis of dyslexia.
Yeah, so as far back as I can remember, I was writing even when I couldn't necessarily spell all the words right. And in motherhood, that just continued, putting pen to paper. And my children so heavily inspired all of these books. I mean, A Boat in the Kitchen, my very first book, was written very late at night while I was cleaning up. And I saw a little boat and I started to think about what my son sees. And from this dyslexic perspective, I started visualizing this huge boat in the kitchen. And I wrote as well as drew out some of these sketches that inspired these books.
Absolutely. Well, you kept going, and the book is actually behind you. Melonade is your latest book. So did you draw from your own experiences when writing this one?
Yes, Melonade is about a little girl, Sam, with dyslexia, and she is steeped really heavily in the experiences I had as a child. And from that viewpoint of a dyslexic child, she creates things out of nothing and creates things that she sees, turning them into new things, which is something that I definitely did as a child.
Absolutely. What do you hope children who do read Melonade take away from your story?
All I can hope is that the books I'm creating can really help create a dialogue around hard topics that I personally struggled with, like dyslexia in Melonade and also adoption in First Day. And I'm really passionate about these projects. And I really just hope it opens up the mind to have these discussions with children, families, and educators.
Absolutely. Before we go, I do want to touch on the fact that you are now a mom of 2, so full circle moment. But you actually made a cute post on Instagram recently with the caption, "Taking melons and making Melonade as often as we can during the toddler year. Don't blink." How do parents make Melonade if their child suffers from dyslexia?
Making Melonade out of melons, I can only speak from experience, but for me, assistive technology had such a huge, drastic change for learning. So I personally used audiobooks, and that really followed me into my college years and even into motherhood. Also, the idea of having these open conversations, not only about the struggles with dyslexia, but also all of the benefits and all of the strengths that come with it, and making sure your children know how to advocate for the things that they need in education and in life. I personally use those skills even today.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and just being vulnerable with us this morning and sharing your story. Tell me, where can people find your book?
Yeah, they can find my book and all things Sasha at sashasaidman.com. And my social media handles on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram are all under my name, Sasha Saidman.
Perfect. Well, congratulations to you on all your success.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Sasha. Still ahead on today's show, find out